All right, every time we start this, I say we're live, and we're actually like live right now, which is pretty awesome.
There you
So,
go.
all right, hello everyone. Welcome to the Classroom Chronicles GV podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Mike Simone.
And I'm Nikki Boyle. Today, we are going to be sitting down with four of our former Garnet Valley High School students. They're going to introduce themselves in a minute here and share about the importance of taking a world language as an elective and how that's kind of shaped who they are today. So, whoever wants to get us started today, we can just unmute and introduce yourselves, a little bit about maybe who you are, what year you graduated, where you are now, and then we'll jump into some questions.
Hi, I'm Sean Lyons. I graduated all the way back in 2014. I think I'm the oldest one of the young people that are on the podcast. I've been living in Madrid the last 2 years, and I work for a company called FM. Stands for Factory Mutual. They are an insurance company.
I'm Christy Deal. I graduated in 2018 and I'm calling from Sevilla, Spain. So I've been living here for about a year now, teaching English, and I'm now working for a university here.
So my name is Ryan Baldino, and I graduated in the class of 2018 also. I am currently a social studies teacher at Salesianum down in Delaware, but I majored in global studies and Spanish at Loyola, and I worked for a year as a Spanish-speaking paralegal, working with migrant farm workers in throughout the South, based in Nashville, Tennessee. I moved back home not that long ago to be closer to family. But I've been able to travel pretty extensively throughout Latin America with my best friend CJ, who is also me and Christy's friend as well.
And I'll round it out. Hi, I'm Aditi Sridhar. I graduated in the class of 2020, and currently I'm at in law school in Philly. I took French at Garnet Valley, and undergrad I was a French minor, and I've been able to do a lot of really cool things with the language. I'm really excited to hopefully get to travel more, like Ryan said, and experience it more too.
So, we want you to look back and think about your time at Garnet Valley High School as a student. For some of you, it wasn't so long ago. For others, it dates back just a little. But what did you enjoy most about taking a world language? And it could be lessons that you remember, experiences that you had, maybe relationships that you built with other classmates or teachers during that time, really anything that sticks out to you.
For me, I think the my most my best memories for a foreign language in high school was definitely um, any moment that I had several really good friends in the program, but I always look forward to going to that class because it was something so different from all the other normal classes. And probably the biggest piece of that, I think, was Senor Abrams. He was one of my favorite teachers of all time, and he really made the class kind of special and pushed the boundaries, I think, of the class in a way that not many other classes you can do because a language involves you can do anything in the world in a different language. You know what I mean? It encompasses everything. You could do every one of the other subjects that you would take in high school in a different language. Um, so the options were just unlimited, and he always made it fun. I mean, within reason, of course, but in the class, as long as it was in Spanish, almost anything was fair game. You could touch almost any subject, any sort of vocabulary. And I think that for me really made it fun and special and different and kind of, I hate going to the class. I looked forward to it because it was a respite of all the other really structured classes that I had, at least for me.
Kind of similar to what Sean was saying, I feel like the I took Spanish, so I think the teachers from the Spanish program were really great, especially Senora Pasagno and Senor Abrams. I definitely got really close to them. And I think that's something cool about taking a foreign language because, as Sean is saying, some of the other classes can be kind of, I don't want to say boring, but well, boring.
We won't tell. We
Whereas
won't
foreign
tell.
language, you're learning kind of basic conversation skills. So I feel like you really get a good chance to get to know your teacher, to get to know your other classmates, and it kind of allows you to connect with everyone in your class on a more personal level because you're talking about who you are as a person or things you like or what you like to do, and it's kind of a nice break from learning about chemistry or something like that. You're getting to know the people that you're with all day, which is
I
cool.
totally agree with what Sean and Christy both said. I think it's also, I wanted to go after you guys spoke too, because you guys are actually both very informative to my own Spanish speaking journey. I have this very clear memory of Sean and his two siblings. We were on a family trip to Ireland in 2014, right before I started high school. And him and his siblings were speaking in Spanish, and I didn't know what they were saying. And I really wanted to be like included in what was going on. So, and also Sean was, yeah, graduated the year before I started and, obviously did very well and was very talented with Spanish and he was really tight with Senor. And so that was very aspirational to me. And I definitely wanted to, it inspired me to really be competitive and try to really do my best. I had Senor for every class except for one. I had Senor Null, who, I had her for Spanish one, but I got to know Senor Pasagno through being in Spanish club, which was really great. And yeah, I think that that really is what is so critical about learning other languages. You learn there's like a different version of like everything, I think that like when you only learn one language, you assume that there's so many kind of like cultural assumptions that we're making all the time, like just like within our own language and kind of like phrases and concepts that we like don't even realize we're doing. But once you learn another language, you realize um, how unaware you are of kind of like different ways people think and sort of like different cultural ideas. Like learning about language and culture is like very interconnected that you can't really have one without the other. And it made me like really want to be curious and like learn about other languages and like other ways of thinking. I got really into like listening to Spanish like music and watching movies and also I had a lot of great friends like Christy and like other people who helped inspire me. And I feel like there really were a lot of people who like went all the way from Spanish 1 to like AP Spanish and like we were all together kind of doing the same thing. And that made it like more exciting and fun for me.
So unlike everyone else, I took French. But definitely a shout out to the French department. I had Madame Demnansky for I think 3 out of my 4 years in high school and absolutely loved her. But I think some like to add on what Ryan said, I think the fact that you take I felt like I ended up in the same French class with like the same small group of people all 4 years. And by AP, my class was only 8 people, I remember. So we were like a pretty small group, but we had all been in French class together for a while. So I think that like model was really cool. Um, and I guess also kind of to second something that Ryan said, I think after taking French for all 4 years of high school and then I took it also in college, I think like it kind of opens you up to like a whole new world of like things you can enjoy media wise. So like you can like there's books, there's a lot of French music, there's TV shows, there's a lot out there that I mean you might like something in English, but maybe the like original movie or something like that is in French. So then like now you have this way to like kind of open you up to new media, which I thought was really interesting as someone who's really interested in like music and movies and pop culture and that sort of stuff. So that was really definitely a highlight of I guess being able to take a language. But I think another thing is also, especially if like you're a student who really likes like history or like I remember I really liked like AP Euro. So, and I knew that like there's like a lot of like obviously we were learning about France in those classes and then I was kind of able to be like, oh, like if I learn French, maybe there's a lot of connection there with learning about the culture and the language and the history. So I think that's also kind of definitely something that pushed me to learn a world language and got me really excited about it early on.
That's so cool. I didn't even think about like the media and like the cult like movies and books and like different medium you can explore with the language. I feel like I'm always like I always jump right to the closed captions when I'm watching. Like there was this German show, I think it was called Dark, that I was watching, and I had to have the closed captions on the entire time. But it was just like fascinating. Like if I knew German or had taken German, I wouldn't have needed that. And that's cool for French that you can like read and listen to music and like totally understand what it's saying.
And all four of your answers to looking back at your time in Garnet Valley, like what did you enjoy the most? You really referenced a teacher. I heard four. I heard it specifically four: Null, Pasagno, Abrams, and Dubnansky. Um, and that kind of dives into the next question, which is about like sparked interest in taking world language in high school. Like, what initially sparked it? Was it a teacher that influenced your decision, a background, traveling? Like, was there something really specific that kind of kept you going?
I could speak these strange sounds that came out of my mouth, not someone else's mouth, and that to someone else they have real meaning, and then to someone else it means absolutely nothing. It's just gibberish was fascinating. And I like the first time that I was actually able to like start to maintain a conversation with someone in front of someone else and the other person had no idea. I was like, wow, this is like a secret code that I can use not only with my friends, but like it was like this light bulb went on. And not only that's just one language. There are, thousands of languages, but like for me, I was like, I didn't even know what it really meant and what kind of doors and possibilities it would open up for me later. But the light bulb went on and I was like, this is powerful. Like, wow, this is cool.
I was gonna say the component of being able to gossip with people about other people right in front of them is definitely like peak language learning. It's so fun that you can do that. I think I wanted to start learning Spanish because there's so many Spanish speakers in the US. It has like one of the countries with the most Spanish speakers in the world. So it opens your world to be able to communicate with so many more people being able to speak another language. So I think that's super
I
important.
think to add to one of the points that Christy made, I knew in high school, I knew I was like really interested in going into something government. I ended up like kind of falling into the international relations bucket. And especially if you're interested in international relations as a major, like I think across most every school that has the major, you do have a like you have a language requirement. And because I like was able to take French all 4 years of high school, I kind of started like a little bit ahead of a lot of people once I had gotten to college. So that really helped me in terms of like not only I was able to take more like French classes in college because I like ended up minoring in it, but also kind of open my schedule up for to take a lot of other things versus maybe other people might had, they maybe only took 2 years or 3 years of a foreign language in high school. So then they kind of started a little behind when it came to their major. So I think that was amazing. I think being able to have a foreign language on your resume, like Christy said, it opens so many doors. Like there are so many opportunities that I wouldn't even thought to take or maybe not even really been eligible for if I didn't have that foreign language experience. So honestly, that was I guess, a great thing that I didn't necessarily know about in high school, but definitely came to fruition a lot of years later.
And I think that's great for our current high school students to know as they're sitting here kind of contemplating course selection for next semester. I think that's like just some great advice. Um, I want to push you guys a little bit to think about how studying your language has impacted your life now. So obviously, you've talked a little bit about that and kind of where you are in your careers, but how has language kind of led you there? Or how has it impacted maybe your daily work that you do or not?
It's changed my life, like certainly. Like it's definitely transformed my life and what I've chosen to do. I went to Loyola University, Maryland, down in Baltimore, and I double majored in global studies and Spanish, which kind of like a DT was saying, it was really interesting. Global studies is very similar to kind of the international relations route, and they complement each other very well. So a lot of the same requirements for both, and so therefore it was really nice to be able to have that experience. It's definitely opened my world up so much. Also, Christy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you also studied stuff like global studies in Spanish as well, right? So yeah, so we have like a
Yeah.
similar background, which has always been great for us to be able to kind of share that. Um, but yeah, it's been really interesting. I was able to make a lot of friends who were Spanish speakers in college. One of my roommates and like best friends and a couple of his friends are from Puerto Rico. And so we were able to practice a lot. It's very interesting though, because obviously my whole high school career, I was trying to imitate Senor's accent, which is very like European Spanish. Caribbean Spanish is like as different from like it's as different as like British English and like Jamaican English or something. So it's like a very different vibe. And that was really interesting. And I had a really cool opportunity to travel to Spain and Italy for like 2 weeks after graduating from Loyola, which was great. And then, of course, I was able to use it in my time as a paralegal in Nashville, which was a interesting kind of humbling experience in a lot of ways. Maybe we can talk about that later. And then most recently, last year, I was able to travel to Argentina, Uruguay, and Peru with my friend CJ, which was really great.
It's interesting too, the like many different like jobs and experiences you've had already in just such a short period of time since high school or college. You got to go at a time when you could immerse yourself and authentically like be a part of the culture and speak the language and be fully in it. I feel like sometimes when we travel, we're oftentimes like just going as tourists and we're going to the basic, sites and taking the photos for Instagram or, like it's all for show, but like most all of you are able to go and like just be a part of it. And I think that that's so cool. And I'm very jealous of that because um, I don't speak Spanish fluently, but I know enough to get by. But I wish I knew more that I could just, order at a restaurant and not have to have the translate option.
Yeah, so basically, after I studied Spanish in high school, I wanted to continue it in university. And because I was able to take so many Spanish classes in high school and go all the way through to AP, I was able to skip a bunch of levels in Spanish and finish my minor much more quickly, which is a huge plus. And then after school, I went traveling for a few months by myself. And because I was able to speak Spanish, I was going to different countries by myself. I was in Mexico, Colombia, Ecuador, speaking with local people there. I'm living in Spain. I'm working here. I'm working at a university, helping students study abroad, actually. So students like yourselves that might be studying in high school that go on to continue in college and want to live abroad in another country in Spain, or maybe you want to go somewhere in Latin America. Those are kind of super cool experiences that you can have if you study a language. And so now I'm working in Spain. I'm living here full time. My life is in Spanish, and I'm helping students move to Spain. So it's kind of come full circle.
In addition to traveling, which was really funny, me and my college friend group, half of us took French and half of us took Spanish. So for our senior trip, we went to both France and Spain. So each of us could have our turn, speaking our language in the respective country. And it was pretty funny, and honestly a great time. And I think, like Christine Ryan said, I think it's such a completely different experience. When you are able to speak the language and going to the country, I think it makes everything so much cooler and so much better. So I'd highly recommend if you're really interested in traveling. But I think also one really cool experience I got to have in undergrad because I took French is that I was able to intern at the French embassy in DC, which you can't do if you don't speak French because half of my interview was in French. So like and they didn't really tell me that beforehand, but like I think maybe like they asked me two questions and then they were like, actually, let's have the rest in French. So that was, I think, kind of a really like kind of cool. It was a really cool experience to kind of translate what like I was learning in the classroom and had been learning started in like middle school and high school to like a very like a professional opportunity. And then most of the internship, like emails and our tasks and everything was like in French. So I thought it was super cool. And that's an opportunity that you can't really have if you don't study like a foreign language.
Life experience wise, on top of everything everyone else has said, it's so true. I mean, you can travel and take pictures for Instagram and see things and whatnot, but like if you know the language and can not only get around but like communicate with people, it just takes it to a whole nother level. You get to learn a culture and another reality that you would never even touch without learning the languages. To meet people that if they don't speak English or whatever language you speak, but you speak their native language, you have access to a pool of people that you would have never had beforehand. For me, it's like being if you give a fish lungs and legs and let them walk out of the water, like it is something completely different that you'll never experience until you do it. And the fact that like it's available, you're not going to Mars, it's not on another planet. Like this is on the same planet. It's available for everybody if you want it and seek it out and try hard enough and put in the time. Like you can do it. It's there.
How are you going to persuade late middle school student, early high school student to say, hey, world language is it. You need to take it. It's a great elective.
It really is like such a missed opportunity. I think if you don't really like engage with it and take it seriously, because if you just like really try to like, there's some conversation involved. There's some like, you got to like sort of do the extra work outside the classroom. So you really have to want it. But I think if you really put in like that little amount of effort, I think that you get so much back.
I think learning a language in school is literally the biggest blessing that you have during your time in high school, because it's the only class that you can take where you're learning a real life skill. You're not just preparing yourself for the harder level classes that you're going to take in college. You're learning a real life skill that you can bring with you for the rest of your life, no matter what you end up doing professionally. So it's great. And then the homework is awesome. I mean, besides from the worksheets and whatever, like you get to watch TV, watch movies, listen to music. Like it's the most fun thing you could choose to do, learning in school and outside of school as well. I mean, you're literally just enjoying.
I think taking that first step in high school is just honestly like a great chance for you to like really pursue it in the future. And like Christy said, I mean, the homework is awesome. It's like watching movies and listening to music, and all of it is amazing. So that's the first thing I would say. And I think the second thing is that maybe there's this misconception that learning a world language might not be as useful as maybe some of the other electives. But again, like Ryan and Chrissy said, I would argue that it is arguably one of the most useful classes you could take, because even from the first level of just taking French 1 or French 2, like you can already have a pretty solid conversation with someone about how their day was. And that is like the first step to connecting with someone.
All right, to all the young viewers out there, if you haven't gotten the gist of it by now, I'm super passionate about this, and I could probably talk for a long time. By and large, if not this one, I don't know if there's anything else off the top of my head that has been the most rewarding thing that I've ever done in my entire life, that it has given me back thousandfold what I've put into it. And I've put a ton of time and effort into it, but everything I've gotten out of it and more is absolutely worth it. Somebody told me a quote one time that was, one language, one life. And kind of like what Ryan said and everyone else has said, that you have another personality. And I mean, I've lived in Spain now, it'll be 2 years this coming November 13th. And I feel like I've been there for 10 years in a good way. I feel like I've gotten this much of life from only being there this long, which is unbelievable. Like the fact that that's even possible to have that feeling is incredible. Go and get the basics now, and hopefully your interest is sparked like it was for me and Ryan and Christy and Aditi, because it's, I mean, I don't know, I can't say more about it. So
I think you said it all. And I think for the students out there listening, I hope that they feel the way that Mike and I are feeling right now, just sitting here listening to all your experiences, and the value that taking a world language has brought to each of you is very evident. And we can't thank you enough for taking time out of your busy adult lives to hop on with us today to do this. And we think that this will make a huge impact on our students and our staff too. I think we're definitely going to share this with the world language department, but I know like our building principals and I think our superintendent would like love to see just where you guys are in life. It's amazing. So thank you so much for your time and energy and for your thoughtful responses to everything that we asked today.
Touche. It's awesome. All right, guys, lights out on this episode.
But the light of learning shines on.